Hello, good evening. Welcome to Crafting and Cruising. I'm Lisa Seiler. My husband is in here with me. I look a hot mess and I'm not going to be on very long. So when you come in, say hi, let me know where you're watching from. If you watch the replay, please hashtag replay so I'll know you're here. I've been doing a couple of paint pours lately. And so I wanted to show you what I've come up with and then what the next step in the pour is. If you were here the other day, you saw me pouring this big, deep canvas that I told you I got at Cheap Joe's. If you've never been a part of cheapjoes.com, you need to get on there because they have great art supplies. They're located in North Carolina. So, as you can see with this pour, I'm going to stand up. It can really go any direction. And that's the neat thing about pours is you can look on there and turn it every which way and decide which way suits you the best. But now it looks sort of dull. You can see a lot of the cells in there. You can see that even the sides have some cells on them. I probably will go back when it's all said and done and paint this, and maybe inside here since some of it's spilled. I know it's going to be hanging on a wall, but I like for my work to look finished. So, I also told you that I was probably going to use this for my Christmas card. And if I do, I won't use this next piece I'm going to show you because it'll be too much. I'll do something different to it. But remember the other day, I poured the Seahorse that I got from the Dollar Tree. And that one has a lot. Hey, Debbie, that one has a lot of really good cells in it. It turned out really, really well. But on this side, it's etched. You probably can't see it, but there's some lines in there, which is not a huge deal. But Rodney's going to put some tape, painter's tape around it so I can pour this side real quick while I'm on here just to see what a different pour we get. But I just love how these cells kind of come up inside each other, the different colors. Look at these right here. And that's the cool thing about it. You just don't ever know what you're going to get. So he's going to put tape on here. Now I'm going to talk to you about this piece. This piece is dry. It's dried for 2 days. And when I rub my hand over it, I don't feel too much of the oil that I used in some of the paints. But to be sure, hey Kimberly, to be sure that I don't have any oil before I put a top coat on it, I'm just going to sprinkle baby powder, plain old baby powder, over the top of it to make sure that there's no oil left so that when I put my top coat on, it'll stick well. I'm just going to rub it with my hands. Y'all see what I'm doing? Rubbing it with my hands. Now it really looks dull. And then I just brought a basting brush from inside. I guess I need one out here if I'm going to start doing pours again. And I'm going to start cleaning this off to get a lot of the excess off first. I just want to make sure that any oils from my hands, any oils from the treadmill oil that I mixed in the paints is gone. Now it still has too much baby powder on it, so I'm going to take this rag and just wipe all of the excess off. So I'm back to what I had when I came in here. But now I know there's no oil on it. So I want to put a top coat on to protect it. What I'm going to use is a mixture of Duraclear and triple thick. I don't have the triple thick container down here, I don't think, but here's the Duraclear. You can just use this. You can just use the triple thick. You may ask, why do I use both? Because my teacher, Debbie Rigg, told me to. She mixes 3 parts triple thick, so triple, 3 parts, to 1 part Duraclear. And while we're talking about Debbie Rigg, she burned herself very badly today on her live and had to go to urgent care. And she's supposed to be leaving tomorrow for vacation. So please, please, please keep her in your prayers. And if you're not following her, go follow her at Studio MDAZ on Facebook. And yeah, her burn was on both hands. This finger and then this finger. Something stuck to it. When she pulled it off, it pulled the skin off. It was awful. And her sweet mama was on there with her. And of course, she was concerned. So anyway, I'm shaking up the Duraclear in triple thick. I'm going to stand up. Let me find a brush first. Although I think what I'll use is a sponge. And I'll probably eventually put 2 or 3 coats on just to make sure that I have enough on here. You can probably see that it comes out very milky looking. Can you see that? So I'm just going to take the sponge and go over it one time really well. And then after it dries, I'll put a second coat on. But I'll take my strokes with my sponge a different direction. And this is going to make all of the colors in this pour really, really pop. It'll be so pretty. Plus, it will be protected. And I'm hoping to pack this to take with me on my trip so that I can maybe use it for my Christmas card, unless I decide I like the Seahorse better. And then I may have to put him on something not so busy. So, now I'm going to make sure that I also get the sides. You want to finish your painting and you want it to look good from every direction. Canvases like this, you don't typically put in a frame. They're thick and wide, and so you usually would just either hang this straight on the wall or sit it on an easel. Okay, let me put just a little bit more on here, and then I'll hold it up and show you how good it looks before I do this next quick pour. I always hate it trying to figure out the best time to come on, because I know that Beth with Rekindled Blessings is on, and I'm sure there's others on too that some of us like to watch. It's just hard to find a good time when nobody else is on. Okay, here you go. So now, you see how those colors really came out on this pour? Love it. It does not take the triple thick Duraclear mix long to dry. So I'm going to set this to the side. And before I go in tonight, I'll probably put a second coat on it. That may be all it takes. And then I'm going to do the pour with my leftover paints from the pour I did on the Seahorse before and on the canvas. So I still have my extra paints left. Don't ever throw them away, but make sure you keep them in an airtight container. And I'm just going to mix these quickly to make sure that it's all mixed up, because some of them do have the treadmill silicone oil in them, some don't. But they've been sitting out here for a while, so I'm sure they're all settled. And I believe that the... Hey, Micheline, I hope you're feeling better, sister. Hope your hand is healing nicely. I just showed them, if you weren't on here, I just showed them the pour I did the other day for the background, and I cleaned it off with baby powder to absorb any oils that might be in it from the silicone that I poured in some of the paints, or for my fingers.
While you're stirring, why don't you tell them again how you mix your paints and get them ready for pouring?
Okay, so my paints, and this is not necessarily written in stone, y'all. The best way to know is to really study the paints and understand about their density and all that kind of stuff. I leave Friday morning dark and early, Kimberly. Is 1 part paint, a half part water, and then 3 parts of this mix that I mixed up, which was a mixture of what's it called, Brian?
Floetrol.
So in a container, I mixed Floetrol, and then I used Liquitex pouring medium. You can really use any pouring medium. I have 2 or 3 kinds, but I use Liquitex. And I think it's 3 parts Liquitex. 3 parts Floetrol to 1 part Liquitex. I'll have to look that up. I'm not sure.
And how many parts paint?
So then, once you get that mix made, then in your container, you put 3 parts of that mix plus 1 part of paint, and then a 1/2 part of water as needed. You don't necessarily have to use the water if your paint is the right consistency, which should be the consistency of warm honey. Now this from sitting here has gotten a little bit thick, but when I stir it up, I think it comes off just fine. I could add a little water, but I'm not going to waste the time doing it. So Rodney's now covered all this up for me. So now I'm going to put on my gloves and get my black base coat paint, which also has Floetrol in it. It does not have, I don't think it has the pouring medium, but it does have Floetrol in it. The Floetrol is a paint conditioner. Helps the paint move around on your surface and keeps it a little bit more wet so it doesn't dry so quickly. So I've had a can down here, a bottle down here since Rodney and I were doing pours a long time ago, but I still have black paint in it. So I've been using it on all this stuff and it's worked. So give it a little shake, and I'm gonna pour the black on here. Can you all see? I hope you can. Just to get this good and covered with paint. The reason you put a base coat down is that once you put your other paints on top of it, you want them to be able to flow nicely. And so you need this paint to help that paint move around. And usually on a big surface like a canvas, once I put this paint down, I would pick it up and tilt it back and forth, which I could do on this, but this is such a small piece that I'm just going to move it around with this cake decorator that I use when I'm doing pours a lot. Because for me and for Rodney, we found that our favorite type of pour paint, in order to get the best sales, is to do a swipe, which is what I'm going to do on here. It's what I've done before.
What material? I don't want to use water in these. What material can I thin it with?
Just a little water is all you need.
Okay, summer.
Okay, so now I've got this on here. You can see the whole Seahorse now is base coated with the black. I'm going to let it run just a little bit to try to even it out some. And I'm going to take my torch, which is just a baker's torch, like you would use on
meringue,
flan or something like that. You could use it on meringue too. I haven't really seen people torch meringue, but I guess you could. So let me take this little bitty torch I have, and you want to get out any bubbles that may have come up when you were pouring this part of the paint, because you want all of your paints that you're going to put on here for your pour to be able to move and to sink where they need to sink and to come to the surface where they need to come to the surface. And this, with this light shining over me, I can see lots and lots of little bubbles being popped. Y'all can't see it, but I can. So let me take one, move a little bit more of this where there's not a lot of paint right there. I want to move it toward the edge. So if I tilt, it will go off the edge. Now sometimes when I tilt, when I have really good cells and then I start to tilt them, I lose some of the pretty cells, which is frustrating. Because when you get something in your mind about how you want it to look, then you want it to look that way. So, now, even though I'll probably end up doing a swipe, I'm going to do this just like I did the other before, but I'll probably swipe it both ways, okay? So I'm going to put the can in here, empty. I'm going to sit it about in the middle. And I'm going to start adding paints. And remember I said the other day, the higher up you pour your paints, the better chance you have of cells forming, because they mix together nicely in the cup. They will sink to the bottom, and then the ones that have the oil in them will make some nice cells. I'm just using the same colors I've been using, which is several different colors of blue, turquoise, a metallic blue, a mixture on the peach color of 2 different colors, and then I've got white. And to make sure that I have enough paint, I'm going to do it all over again, because I really don't want to have to do this a second time. So I think I'm just going to get all my paints in here, so I can take my containers in and clean them, and I don't have to worry about my paints going to waste. Here's the top to it. Let's see. Isn't that a pretty color? I love that. Looks like the water in Cancun. The fun thing about this is you never know what you're going to get. The not fun thing about this is you never know what you're going to get. And if you have something in your mind that you want, then it gets frustrating. And what it looks like tonight when I leave this room and go inside is not exactly how it will look tomorrow, because the cells will continue forming, and as the paint dries, things will change. So I usually try to remember to take pictures when I finish, and then pictures the next day when I come in to get it, to see how much it's changed, because it definitely will have changed. There's all manner of recipes out there for how to mix your paints. Some of the ones in Canada use different brands than we do here. Some in the UK and Australia use different brands. But there's lots of people here who have, tested out several products. And I can't tell you how many times Rodney and I wrote down what they said, and then we didn't necessarily end up using it like they said. Okay, so now I've got it down here. I'm going to barely lift it and start bringing it up and start bringing it down. Can you already see the cells? Let me swipe so I can make sure you can see the cells. Whoops, sorry. Now the other key is to let it rest. I'm going to torch it to get the bubbles out. And then you got to let it rest a little bit to let the paints do what they want to do. Some will sink, some will come to the top. Can you hold that over here so I can show them something? It may not do it again, but I love how when you torch certain paints, you get little teeny tiny cells. And I may already have them all up here, but okay, so just follow me where I'm going. If you get too close, you'll burn it. See, that just brought a cell out. That's not bringing any of the little ones out, but some of the places I torched, little bitty tiny cells came up. Now, let me show you about a swipe, because I don't have any color down here or up there.
How's the picture?
It's good. I'm going to take this again, and I'm just barely going to touch this, and I'm going to move it back and forth to bring some of this color down, and it's going to form some more cells. You can already see them forming. Y'all see those? Right here? And remember I told you what falls down in the pan down here makes beautiful skins that you can use on other paintings. You just, once it's fully dried, you can just peel them off and put them between pieces of wax paper and they're beautiful. All right, so let's do the same thing up here. Okay, here comes some sails. How pretty. Now, if there's an area you don't just love, that you feel like needs to have a little more color, you can also use a straw and blow. For example, this has too much white to satisfy me. So I'm going to get where I can blow it off. I'm going to hold my straw fairly close. And get some of that paint to fall. And then it fills back in with the colors underneath, so you can see it slowly filling in. I want a little more color on this edge. I didn't blow hard there. I got to blow hard enough to get the black to go off so that the other color will come up. I don't love this down here. And you'll get the hang of it to know like whether you need to blow really hard or not very hard. If you want the paint to go off, you got to blow harder. See if there's anything under there. There's some orange under there. Still a lot of white over here that I don't love.
When you tilt it, won't a lot of that go away?
Yeah, I probably should tilt it. I didn't even remember about tilting.
And then after you're done, we'll probably need to go around the perimeter with something to get the edges
There we go.
clear.
Well, I can touch up with just regular paint on the edges. It doesn't have to have.
I mean, because the tape's there, it's going to keep it thick. So probably need to just kind of follow the edge and clean it off a little bit.
Now, there's not enough cells there. I kind of removed them. So let's see what happens if I swipe again.
Here they come.
I'm just barely touching the surface. That took a lot of, brought a lot of black back, which I didn't want. And you really should, every time you tilt it one way, before you tilt it another way, you really should bring it back to center. Here it is. See if we can get a few more cells right there. Yep. I'm kind of liking it. Unbelievable.
I think I dropped it in the paint.
Are they still on there? Did you get it all off my phone before it dries?
You have to bear with me while I clean the phone off here. It's looking kind of black right now. I think that's the first time a phone has ever fallen in the paint.
Well, it would have been fine with me if it had not happened on our watch. Okay.
Are we back in business? What do you think?
It says live still. Only one person on. I'm sure they all hung up when they saw that. I don't think there was many on anyway, but
So, is that in the position you want?
turn it toward. Yeah, there you go. Okay. So I'm going to torch it one more time, guys, and then I'm going to leave it alone. Take some pictures. And see what it looks like tomorrow. I do wish I had a few more cells down here. Okie dokie.
Down to see where the edges are.
Let me tilt it just a little bit. Oops. Kind of don't like that black I just put in there. This tape is sticking to my glove.
This is the edge of your fish right here, isn't it?
Remember, y'all, yesterday what I told you my friend that used to paint with me said? Don't over booger it. I think I'm about to over booger, so I need to just walk away. I keep adding more black when I'm trying to add blue.
Why don't you get some blue?
Do as I say, not as I do. Let me put some more of this little metallic blue right here. I love that color. Now, let's just swipe it around a little bit and see what happens. That's prettier. I like that blue. And may put a little more of this blue-green down here on this white part of the tail. Let me just layer some. How about that? It's mesmerizing, y'all. You can just work all day long and get something different every time. And the good thing about these, I said this the other day, the good thing about these is you can paint over them. I can't tell you how many pours we have down there that we have done that neither one of us like. And so I'll be able to just use them and pour black or white paint on them and start over again, and nobody will know the difference. Yeah, I like that down there. I gave it a little color. I may want a little more color up here at the top of his head. I don't think they can see that.
You want me to drop the camera back on it again?
Could you drop it back on it again and see what you can do? I think you better just hold it. Might be the best bet. So y'all don't waste anything. You can always do extra canvases. And you know what? People love to get these as a gift. They really do. Let's see what this is going to do. I didn't like this up here. Much better. Mucho bettero. Alright. One more torch. And by the morning, this will be done. Now, let me show y'all. I'm going to take my gloves off and show y'all the canvas that I put the clear coat on. It's dry. This clear coat is dry. So I'm going to put one more coat on it. Since I did the strokes up and down this time, I'm going to do the strokes across this time. And then if I decide to put a third one on, I'll just do them random. That's so pretty. Love it. Okay, so that's it. Tomorrow I probably will not be on because I'll finish packing for my trip, and then I'll leave dark and early Friday morning, and I will be gone until the next Friday. But I plan to go live several times while I'm there because I'll be working on my Christmas card. And I'm taking another couple of projects to work on, so I have plenty to do. Went and got a new book today at McKay's to read. If you haven't read The Wish by Nicholas Sparks, I would encourage you to do so. It's great. Just finished it. Rodney's almost through with it. And if you have any good books to recommend, I wish you'd drop them in the comments. And don't forget, you can send prayer requests to craftandcruise@gmail.com or leave them here in the comments. Thank you again for coming. And please share this out. If you're not following us yet, please follow. And we'll see you soon. Have a great night. Bye.